Hi guys, my name is Tiffany.
And I'm Johnny.
And we wanted to talk to you guys today about fighting as a couple. And we're talking about having disagreements and arguments. And as we were discussing it, we just really came to the resolution that, it is okay to fight. It's just how you navigate through that disagreement that matters.
Yeah. We like to call that coming to the table.
Yeah.
Here's what I mean by that. In a relationship, when it comes to conflict resolution, it's kind of like a board meeting where you both come to the table with your issues, your grievances, your gripes. You want to be heard, right? You have to come to the table to be heard. It's really important, though, that when you come to the table, that you stay at the table. If there was ever a rule number one for this table, it's don't leave the table. That's rude. It's rude to walk away from the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking of rules, every couple has to define what their rules of engagement are, right? Since we have this whole analogy of the table, it's just like going to a dinner party. When you go to a dinner party and you call the host and you say, okay, so what's the attire? What are we supposed to wear? What are you wearing? You ask those questions. That's because there's certain rules for engagement. Just like in a relationship, when you have a conflict and it's like, okay, here we are, our first fight or our 17th million fight, but I don't want to do what I did last time, or I don't want to do what I did in the last relationship, because you know that there's certain rules to conduct yourself with, right? So for us, Johnny and I are very communicative. We like to talk. We like to chit chat, which is awesome, right? On my first date with him, I was like, oh my God, thank you. But the downside to that sometimes could be the way we talk, right? We can talk loud, right? So we have rules for our communication styles. So our rules are no cursing, no yelling, no interrupting.
What if you're right, though?
Like that. No, we still working, y'all. No running down the street at night and scaring everybody. Yep, I did that.
That was terrifying.
It was bad. Sorry.
Yeah. But with all this, I mean, like, I want to throw a disclaimer out there. There are very important reasons to not really come to the table, so consider that. Mm-hmm. It's really important to understand when it's time to leave the table, or when a table doesn't even exist.
Right.
What I mean is when there's no love or no respect, or no love and respect in that relationship, i.e. lies, manipulation. I've been manipulated before. It's
not by me. Not by me.
Not by Tiff. No. No, I'm just kidding. No. Real talk. In past relationships, I've been manipulated before, and you're wasting everybody's time, including your own, when you stick around for that. It's not worth it. Verbal or physical abuse.
Absolutely.
There's no table there. There's nothing worth discussing when that's present, because that's not something you want to stay in. Mm-hmm. Gaslighting, and other red flags that you've heard about when it comes to relationship. These are the serious things that kind of make it so that the table doesn't really even exist anymore. And if that's the case, you got to get out. You got to find something else. That's not your person. If that's not your person, there's no table to have with them.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out, because I think when you're in a relationship and some of these flags present themselves, you can ask yourself, like, oh, should I still stick around? Like, he apologized, right? If this person has lied to you and you caught him in a lie, cheated on you, physically abused you, a lot of people can say, well, it's only once and they apologize. No one deserves to put their hands on you. No one deserves to cheat on you. No one, the trust is broken. There's no reason to continue at the table in that situation, right? Yeah. So then that leads us to our next point. When is it appropriate to stay at the table? When it is a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
You see growth. You see prosperity, fruit. You see those things. Another big thing, speaking of past relationships, is checking in with yourself. Mm-hmm. Not Johnny, but in a previous relationship, actually right before I met Johnny, I was in an abusive relationship, a verbally abusive relationship. And even my family and friends kind of noticed that there were some things that didn't add up. And I was still questioning it. Well, he curses at me sometimes. He does it. No. I was still questioning it. But I went through therapy around that time towards the end of that relationship. And my therapist reminded me, like, remember that time when you guys got lost? We were driving somewhere. And I was in charge of like helping him with navigation, and we got turned around, and I remember like shaking because I was concerned with his reaction because of the past, right? So I had presented that to the therapist, and she reminded me of that. She's like, it's very important to check in with how you feel. Your body will let you know if it is dangerous. Like, we literally are human beings, and we have bodies that will send signals to you, but sometimes we don't listen to them because we try to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. It's not good. So I did some of that work when that relationship ended. I did some of that work to really check in with myself, and I wasn't even in a relationship, right? I checked in with boss, like how my boss made me feel, how my friends made me feel. So I got really good at checking in with myself. My spiritual life developed really well at that time. So I was praying a lot. I'm a woman of God. Johnny is a man of God. So when we found each other on an app, we'll tell that story later in another episode. The day we met, I prayed to God, and I was like, really, God? Like, for real? Like, I was praying the whole first date. Right? So checking in with yourself and making sure that you know, like, this feels good, not only in a way that is just sensual, but this feels good because I feel like I can bring my whole self to this relationship. Then you know it's worth staying at the table.
That's so good, babe. I feel the same way. Another thing, guys, is when you are in that heat of that moment, in that hard conversation, as crazy as tensions are, you have to take a step back out of that moment in time and consider the whole relationship. The whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's been a couple of months, a couple of years, a couple of weeks. Evaluate to yourself, how much time are we really fighting and at each other's throats? And how much time are we happy? You know, if the majority of the time, and that's up to you to decide what the majority of the time is, but if the majority of the time is mostly happy and you're feeling good, then you will realize in that heat of the moment that it is just a moment in time,
right,
and nothing more than that. It's not defining your relationship. And if you let it define your relationship, it will define your relationship. But that's not something that you should consider while you're having a hard conversation.
That's good. That reminds me, like, sometimes in the beginning of our relationship, we would have a difficult conversation or a fight, and I would be like, throw my hands up and be fatalistic about the relationship and try to look at and be like, oh, well, we fought last Tuesday, so you know what, this wasn't good. And Johnny was really good at saying, like, really, we have to look at the whole relationship. And if we're fighting 10% of the time, 20%, even 30% of the time, but we navigate through that, we come back to the table. That's what you always said. As long as we're both willing to come back to the table, right, navigate through it, it doesn't matter that we're two different people. It doesn't matter that we had these disagreements. So I'm so happy that God brought you to me, because we both have always spoke the same language. So it really is nice to find someone that's worth coming back to the table.
Oh, baby, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. I think that you're worth coming back to the table too. I love you.
Thanks, babe.
Well, guys, this is our first video, so thanks for watching. These are the things that we've encountered that have worked for us. We just hope that they work for you guys. Stay out there, stay in love, operate in love, not in fear. And we'll see you soon. We hope that you all just keep coming back to the table. Bye, y'all. That was perfect.
That was so good.
Perfect.